Hi everyone and welcome back to Sax V2. This is our more laid back, relaxed channel where you get to see behind the scenes of the store. I've been producing the content since the dawn of our social media channels and I thought you might be interested in seeing some of our recording equipment and processes. I've also got Jim in the store here somewhere. I think he's playing some baritone so we can catch up with him, talk about the NAMM show and any other news from around the store. We'd love to hear your comments, so do feel free to write them below. I'm sure that many of you have noticed that recently we've been filming in the shop a lot more frequently. And this is because Jim and I actually made the decision to close on Mondays purely to focus on filming content for you all. We found it particularly difficult with our busy schedules to get a good flow of videos coming out, so we thought we'd spend that time purely dedicated to producing videos for you. We know so many of you don't have access to a shop like this, so hopefully these insights into the different brands and how they sound have been really valuable for you all. Right, so I've found cameraman Jim, who's behind the phone now. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing very well, and you know what? I love this position. In fact, I might sign the contract, and this is going to be my new position now. We'll just reverse it, and you can do all the testing instead.
A bit of a role reversal. How about that? Only on the V2 channel, you'll see that.
Oh, boo.
Let's talk about microphones. So for Jim and I, it's always been really important to get as transparent a sound as possible. We want you to hear exactly what we're hearing in the room. However, that's almost impossible. Whatever we try, you can never really quite record the projection that you're feeling when you're playing one of these saxophones and how it's hitting the different...
Yeah, that's it, and it's the resonance as well, isn't it? And I think the thing that all of us sax players are kind of guilty of doing is just enjoying all of those reverberations that you mentioned. We, as sax players, we love getting in a room, in a space and hearing this wonderful sound. Yeah. And sometimes I find myself falling to the trap of thinking when I'm playing away, this is the sound that's being recorded. Yeah. But of course, if you, as the technical cameraman, as you are, in your normal sort of role, position that microphone quite close to me, I've got to remember that in fact the sound that I'm going to be getting is that of the travel of the sound from me to the microphone, which might be like 1.5 foot. It's going to be very different to what I'm hearing in the room.
Exactly. So what you might be asking is, well, why not put the microphone further away? Well, we have tried that, but the problem is the color of the room affects the sound so much that then you lose the character of each instrument and therefore everything just ends up sounding exactly the same. Look, we do appreciate that, it's not ideal and nothing beats standing in front of the instrument, but by using the equipment that we've chosen, hopefully it gives us the most transparent sound as possible. The microphone we use nowadays, and I listen to endless sound clips with different microphones. I'm sure you will remember George, who was very dorky with this sort of stuff. I'm sure he won't mind me saying. We settled on the Mojave MA200 in the end, which is a valve microphone, and it's got a really warm but transparent sound, and it really does pick out all the details of each individual instrument. And this just works particularly well for the saxophone. So we've been really pleased with this microphone since we've had it. Before then, we were using the Neumann TLM 102 for very much the same reasons. It was very transparent, it was nice and warm, worked very well for the saxophone. But because this was such a good microphone, I decided not to sell it on eBay to some random person. And we've actually attached it to a Zoom field recorder now. So you'll see on many of our social media channels, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, we're out and about on the street, or perhaps we're just setting up somewhere random in the shop. And this gives us the most high quality portable recording that we can possibly get. And it's such a good, I'm not sure if you can see it from that angle, but look, it's totally portable, totally wireless, a couple of AA batteries, and off you go. For those nerds out there, it also records in 32-bit float, which essentially means that you don't need to set the volumes exact, and you can actually edit it afterwards without degrading any quality, which is really nice.
There we go. All the time. I love this. Dare I ask you, what do you think the tonal differences are between this one and our new default? So
our viewers can actually watch George and I compare them in a previous V2 channel. I'll put a little link to that up here somewhere.
Okay, that's the answer. I should have watched the video.
But what we found is mainly detail. We found that the Mojave had a bit more detail in the higher end. Going back to what I was saying about transparency, we just found it was really good to sort of show the viewers, exactly each individual characteristic of the instruments that you or George or whoever here were testing. So yeah, this is a great microphone. It's not cheap, but we want to give you the best quality. So we're willing to spend, aren't we, Jim? We are worth it. I'm sure not many of you are that bothered, but in terms of Jim's Jim's vocals.
Oh, come on.
We use a Sennheiser MKE 500. This room has a lot of reverb, as you might be able to hear, and a shotgun microphone is the most directional microphone money can buy. And this Sennheiser has been amazing. This isn't particularly expensive, maybe £200. It does take quite a lot of mixing after it's recorded to get rid of some of the reverb and make Jim's vocals sound even more crisp and beautiful than they already do, even if that's possible, but we give it a go.
It certainly is.
Camera equipment, so we keep it pretty simple here. We have one mirrorless camera. I've always used Sony cameras. This is the A7 IV, which is a good hybrid between photography, as you've probably seen as well. We do lots of photography on all of our social media channels and our video work as well. And it's got the 16 to 35 millimeter Sony G Master lens, which is a really good lens. Used to use loads of prime lenses and things. Ever since I got that, I use that for 99% of our work. So over the years, our videos have developed, and the one thing I think that we take more seriously than anything now is probably lighting. It's boring, but as you can see, we've got certain lighting in place. I have to climb up on these racks early in the morning. It was a bit nicer when we had the studio, right, Jim, and we could just flick a few switches, but now I have to come in early on a Monday and start climbing on racks to set everything up.
You love it, really, though.
I do love it. And what we have is this amazing background to record in now. So it's absolutely amazing. I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into the equipment that we use. Do feel free to write in the comments below if you've got any questions about this. And lots of us here know about home recording and different microphones, interfaces. Actually, interface, I didn't mention interface.
Yeah,
sorry.
Come on.
We use, come over here. So again, purely for transparency, we found the Universal Audio Apollo Twin. Again, just gave us a certain amount of transparency, and you can actually load preamps into this as well if you want to get really technical, but this worked really well for us. So yeah, this combined with the Mojave works really well.
Nice.
Whilst I've been fine-tuning a bit of the gear, Jim's been in a room playing some baritones. That's what's on the menu today. So let's go and find him and ask him a few more questions and things that are happening around the store. There he is. Practicing away.
Yeah, I think this is about as crammed as I've ever had it before. 5 baritones in one room. But yes, what I'm doing right now is prepping for a video, which we're going to shoot in about 1 or 2 hours, I guess, after a light bite to eat. So yeah, this is going to be a pro baritone sax video, where we're going to feature 4 or 5 top brands and put these guys through their paces.
And what mouthpiece are you using?
Okay, so this was a little bit of a sticking point this morning, because prior to doing this style of video, sometimes I don't always have my set default gear. And in fact, in the case of the baritone, I don't actually possess my own baritone sax, believe it or not. So first of all, I have to remind myself how to actually play the baritone saxophone, which requires me choosing a mouthpiece that I'm going to be comfortable on, that will allow me to do all the things that I need to do in order to present the instruments to you. So that was the first challenge. So I went to this one, which has been a little bit of a go-to for me in recent times. This is the 10M Infusion mouthpiece, which I have been enjoying a lot, and I've also just been A/B'ing it against this new burn-in mouthpiece, which is also great. But for me, this particular one, the 10M fan, just won the battle of the day. So I'm going with this one for the video. Nice full sound and all the rest of it. But otherwise, the general idea here is I just need to get a feel for all of the instruments. I need to get really inside the character, the heart of each instrument, so that I know what I'm talking about.
And for alto and tenor, do you use specific mouthpieces for those, or will you change it depending on the style of the video?
So yes, it very much depends. So if I'm showcasing saxophones, I'm concentrating on the saxophones and it's not so much about the mouthpiece, I'll just tend to default to my standard setup because it's what I'm familiar with. Maybe it's what the viewers are familiar with as well. If I'm going down more of a route of I'm trying to do a specific thing, let's say it's a pop sax video, I'm trying to go for a certain sound, and I might choose a mouthpiece that will do that for me. But otherwise, if it's sort of just general playing, showing off the saxophones and all of their characteristics, I'll go with, if it's alto, it'd be my standard Mayer mouthpiece. If it's tenor, I have got a little guilty selection of a few tenor mouthpieces. You might have seen me chop and change a little bit recently. So on tenor, more recently, I've actually been enjoying playing on my Alexander's Imperial mouthpiece. But yeah, that's the general vibe here. But for baritone, I quite like just sort of being shoved into the unknown a bit. The fact that the last time I blew on a baritone was, well, actually it was about a month ago, but it was only for about 5 minutes when we did that video on the ergo sax ports, you might remember. And again, it was that whole thing of, yes, I need to remember how to play the baritone saxophone. I need a mouthpiece. So I did that whole thing, and I've just kind of rinsed and repeated that again today so that I can actually play these for a slightly longer period of time for this slightly more serious video.
Well, it's sounding pretty bloody nice from here. I'm looking forward to recording the video in a minute. I'm sure you'll see that. Well, no, you will see that on our main channel by the time this is out. So again, we'll put a link to that up the top. Whereabouts will that be, Jim? The link?
Where? Top right.
Yeah,
or is it
close enough.
I'm really rubbish at that stuff. You may have noticed.
That'll do. Yeah. All right, thanks, Jim.
All right, no worries.
Jim, something I forgot to mention was the NAMM show. This, hang on a second, that does not look like sunny California. This year we decided to give NAMM a bit of a break, didn't we?
Yeah, I suppose mixed feelings on that, really. I mean, it's nice to have a break sometimes, actually get some sleep for once, because it is tiring, let's face it. It's hard work, you know, all the jet lag and all the rest of it. Yeah, a lot goes into it, but it is well worth it because we do have a great time at the show, don't we? There's a real buzz, there's so much sort of activity that goes on, and we're just going to hear about it instead from our suppliers and our friends out there. So that's the way we're going to derive the information this year if we can't be there in person.
But we will be there next year, won't we?
We will. I think, you know, maybe we're going to make it maybe a 2-year outing where we can, you know, every 2 years there's certainly going to be enough to be talking about, and then in that in-between year it's just going to be one of these moments where we're sat here in rainy London and wondering.
Wishing we were on Laguna Beach or out in Newport on a big night out.
So.
But do you think we should go every year? Let us know in the comments below. Do you think that we should be investing and bringing you?
Do you miss my tours when I walk around and have no idea where I'm going because my sense of direction is so hopeless, and Jamie's saying, "Oh, Jim, it's the leftist row. We've already done that row." Do you miss those moments?
Do you want to see that every year? Do you want to see Jim get lost every year? Well, if so, let us know in the comments below. But that's it for today. Hopefully that's been a good insight into a few things here at the shop on a Monday. And yeah, we'll see you again in another video soon.